Hello there guys and girls, this is the Prussian Prince with another special video. This time, I'm gonna be announcing the release of Europa Universalis for Wealth of Nations DLC by Paradox Interactive and obviously developed by Paradox Development Studio. So, let's take a look at, well, simply when you have the DLC and you go to single player, you should be able to see here that the DLC Wealth of Nations is enabled if it's properly bought and everything, and if you also enabled it in your launcher, it has to be enabled. And by the way, there's a new launcher for EU4 which looks amazing, much better than the old one. Now let us go over the patch notes. So for Wealth of Nations, there are quite a few features. For some of them you actually have to buy Wealth of Nations, but for others you just get them freely, like without even have to pay a single dollar or anything to get them, just with the patch, as has been the case with CK2 for a while already. Now let us see. First things first, and I'm actually going to be showing the patch notes as well. I have a browser here open. So, we have privateers. You can now send lightships on privateering missions to trade nodes. Very interesting. Basically, this is like pirates, I suppose, except it's like yours. It's like your own pirates, and they do your job. It's basically what they are. It's very interesting. But basically, the old pirates are removed. That's also an important thing to note. And it does act as a collecting merchant in the node. The sending nation receives 40%. Now we have trade companies. We can form trade companies by assigning provinces to the trade company. Yay! And the province in a trade company gives plus 50% trade power, plus 0.5 naval force limit, minus 100% manpower, and minus 50% tax. So it's very important to keep in mind, because while there are bonuses, there are also the disadvantages to doing something like this, to giving to assigning a province to a trade company, obviously, because as you can see, you lose all of the manpower and 50% of the tax. So you should be careful when you assign them, but obviously it gives a lot of trade power. So if it's overseas, probably would be a nice idea to just give them trade power and naval force limit, I suppose. And every province in a trade company area gains a bonus to goods produced proportional to how much of the trade the company controls. Interesting. The owning nation gets an extra merchant. That's very important, because extra merchants are always useful. Several new events, and no longer possible to westernize if your only neighbor western provinces. If you only neighbor western provinces that are in trade companies. Oh, I see. So if you have like Indian trade company or something like that, people cannot westernize based on that. I see. Very, very interesting. Now, have buildable canals. Well, I imagine in this time period they were very, very difficult to build, so they probably would take insane amount of gold. And let's see. Yes, indeed. Well, we can build the Kiel Canal, Suez Canal, and Panama Canal. Takes administrative tech 20, 50k gold, and ownership of specific provinces. Takes around 10 years. Wonder if you can cancel it. Will boost trade power in the province, allow the transit of ships, and affects naval distance. Canals are visible on the map. Very cool. Oh, I remember they had like a placeholder picture for canals, and I forgot what they actually were, but it was pretty funny. Justify trade conflict. Oh, this is kind of like your it's like fabricating claims, I suppose. Is that what it's most similar to? Yeah, I suppose that's how it would be. Like fabricating a claims on a land province, except it's for trade purposes. Fervor feature for reformed religion. That's the new thing. So each month, a reformed country gets an amount of fervor points. In religion view, there are 3 fervor bonuses: military, diplomatic, and trade. None to all can be activated at any one time. So you can either activate none or all. Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. You can activate none, 1, 2, or 3, I guess. Because there are max 3. Military, diplomatic, and trade. Having a bonus active costs 5 fervor points per month. Keep that in mind. And up to 100 fervor points can be stored. So you cannot be like, oh, during the beginning, I'm gonna store 10 billion fervor points in the first 100 years. And then I'll be able to use all the fervor bonuses forever and ever for the rest of the game. No, you cannot do that, which I guess makes sense. Added personal deities. Very interesting as well. And Hindu rulers can select their own personal deity out of 6 possible. And each gives a specific bonus. Don't actually know the bonuses myself, but interesting. Oh, it can only be removed via event, or it stays until the monarch dies, and use several new deity-specific events. Lots of new Hindu events, and 41 unique event pictures. Alright, that's just extra flavor stuff. Request trade power. Ooh, yes. That would be interesting to do. That would be nice, because basically if you're giving someone trade power, as it says here, they cannot declare war on you. So basically, I imagine this could be a little bit abusable. At least in the beginning of the game or so. So we can now designate the trade port. Your main, I guess it means your main trade collection point is now your main trading port instead of your capital. Interesting. So basically, well, if you have no trading port, then that would be weird. Like if you have no provinces that give you access to sea. But I guess in that case it would still be your capital then, I suppose. Yeah, main trading port is located in your capital by default, can be moved for a cost of 300 diplomatic points. So a significant cost, as you can see. And then trading nodes, let us see. Several trade nodes in the game are designated as inland trading nodes, where trading nations can use their influence to gain direct power even without provinces or ships. Oh, very interesting. So, use influence to gain direct power even without provinces or ships. So now, people who trade inland aren't as screwed anymore as they were in terms of how much they can control the trade power. Because if you could, if the trade node was like naval before, what could happen is you could just build a lot of ships and then you could boost up your trade power by a lot there, right? So that was one thing you could do, which you couldn't do for inland trading. But this influencing thing seems to be there to also allow you to control inland trading more and better. Oh, you now get direct bonuses from your trade efficiency as well as some ideas if you have a merchant in inland trade node. That's nice. Having a merchant steering towards an inland trade node, merchant republics as well as nations with plutocratic and trade ideas get direct bonuses. So some extra flavor right there. New peace treaties. Possible to enforce military access. Possible to enforce fleet basing rights. It's... I guess it's pretty cool actually, that you can now do that. Suppose it does also simulate the Wealth of Nations kind of feel of the DLC as well. Enhanced Merchant Republics. Merchant Republics now give a bonus to goods produced in provinces that they do not own, proportional to how much of the trade in the area that they control. Oh. Nice. So, but it's only Merchant Republics. Now, dynamic province names. Names can now be scripted to be unique for either the province owner, the province culture, or the province culture group. Very interesting. Oh, and you can activate or have them deactivated. I guess I could just... I'm probably gonna have them activated myself. New ship models for Great Frigate, War Galley, Galliot, Brig, and Trabacul. That's pretty cool. Now, major free features. We have rivals. Oh, and I like this a lot, that what they changed about rivals. So, let me read it. Countries now pick rivals from a list of nearby nations that aren't too strong or too weak compared to that country. That's important, because before you could rival anyone you want, like even a one province minor, I believe. And that could be kind of... You could exploit it, and you only needed to spend like 10 diplomatic power and you could instantly change your rival, which based on this you could abuse the rival system to gain favorable opinion of others. Basically, some people would like you more because they have that person set as a rival, or they hate them or something similar before, but now it's not that easy. You cannot pick anyone you can, and you can see that larger nations can pick rivals further away. Picking a rival gives all the previous benefits of having a rival, and also unlocks the power projection system. Oh, this is also pretty cool, I think, at least. You gain power projection by having long-time rivals and acting aggressively against those rivals by, for example, declaring war on them, taking provinces from them, subsidizing their enemies, and sending privateers against them. You lose power projection from having too few rivals picked and losing provinces to your rivals. That's actually another pretty cool way of doing it, the power projection system, because it also simulates the Wealth of Nations kind of thing. So like some nations basically now you cannot abuse the rival system, at least not as well as you could before, and it is more realistic and it feels more balanced as well. Now let us see what actual bonuses it gives. So it gives bonuses to trade power, fort defense, land morale, naval morale, legitimacy, and republican traditions. So that is a lot of bonuses, as you can see there. Certainly tons of bonuses. Additionally, at 25 power projection, a nation gets +1 leader without upkeep. Also pretty important. And at 50 power projection, it gets +1 to monthly administrative, diplomatic, and military power. Hugely important. That last one at 50 power projection is like insane. You should definitely go for that, because extra power is always good. As long as you can spend it, but if you have money, you can obviously spend it. Now, policies. New policy interface under missions and decisions tab. Have not looked at it, but completing 2 full idea groups unlocks several policies, and activating a policy gives bonuses but costs 1 monarch point. Type depend. Several old decisions now converted to policy. So basically, what this means is that I think obviously it doesn't cost 1 monarch point forever. I think they meant in the patch notes that it's 1 monarch point per month. I think that's how it's meant to be, because I read about it before on the forums. I think it's 1 monarch point per month that it costs. And as you can see, several old decisions now converted to policies. Already said that, but basically it allows you even more control over your power. It allows you to spend it on something else, so now you have to balance it even better because you have more to spend it on. So now power should be more scarce based on this. As well as you also have to spend diplomatic power to change your trading port now, your main trading port. So looks like there's a lot more to spend power on. Let us see. 10 new achievements, extra stuff. New trade conflicts to be given by justified trade conflict, taking war score from blockades. Well, these are all for free. All these features, that is. These ones here. And let us see. New colonial region, Australia. Cool. So now we can colonize even more. And detach obsolete ships. I really like that because making micromanagement better is just, I just love, I mean, easier to do, but not like, easier in a good way, I think. Because obviously you don't want to spend lots of minutes looking at all your ships and seeing which one is obsolete so I can replace it with a better ship. That would be quite annoying to do, I think. So the fact that they added this is very cool, at least in my opinion. Anything that deals with mechanics and improvement of mechanics, I'm for that. Now, let us see. Improved macro build. Updated look of macro build interface. Now possible to build cores, change culture, and do harsh treatment from macro build interface. Yes! Yes and yes. This is amazing. Now it makes micromanagement easier as well and more fun to do. Not gonna be as annoying, and the change culture thing and building cores is wonderful, wonderful. Let us see what's next. Change role of trade. Now possible to change role of trader without travel time. Yay! It's wonderful. Added new ships, Great Frigate, War Galley, Galliot, Bring, and Trabacool. Wait, Trabacool? Well, basically they said it's a new ship model, so must be a new ship as well then. Added the religions, Coptic and Ibadi Sikh. Coptic and Ibadi in from the start, Sikh will appear later. Wonder what their bonuses are, I don't actually know. Modifiers such as estuary now shown on map in trade map mode, and now possible to form the nations Egypt and Kara and Kurland. So just also a little bit more flavor as well. And administrative efficiency, also interesting. Another new mechanic. New countrywide bonus that is unlocked at administrative technology level 23 and increases at 26 and 29 up to a total of 75%. Administrative efficiency directly reduces the impact of province base tax on overextension and war score cost, allowing for much larger territories to be conquered at once. That is amazing. It's good for very large nations or provinces that do want to expand a lot at the same time. And the scaling of core time for country size has been removed. All nations, now core provinces, at the same speed regardless of size, but it is still affected by factors such as culture, religion, having a claim, and so on. That I think is also good, what they did there. I'm fully in for it. So it's great that they added that. Because just imagine you have 50 provinces and taking one province would take you 5 billion years. That was so annoying, wasn't it? Like, your expansion was so slow at that point, you could barely do anything. A new launcher and Steamworks support, and subscribe to the mods in Steam and the launcher will update accordingly. Wonderful! I like the new launcher, as I think I already said in the beginning of this video. Let's see, papal automation. You can now prioritize which cardinal to vote for and then let the game do the work. Yes! Micromanagement was so annoying when I had to... Oh wait, have enough papal influence. Better use it quickly before I run out of before I maxed out my papal influence, and it was like so annoying. Every time I got some papal influence, I would have to check it. Be like, oh, spend the points here, spend the points there. Now you don't have to worry about that. You just have to worry about, you have to select the cardinal you want to vote for, and then the game will do it for you. I think that's also wonderful. So for owners of Conquest of Paradise, add a new siege strip, assault and breach overlays for Native Americans. Alright. Several new events for Native Americans. That's just extra stuff. A few major balance changes over here. As you can see, obviously there would be a lot of different changes here. And there's a lot of small changes, stability, bug fixes, multiplayer, and AI and interface and setup and events. Just look at all these changes. I cannot read all of those because there are so many changes, and it's good that it's so many changes because all these fixes will make the game much better, and the game is already extremely good. Like it is, I can easily say that it's, for me at least, it was one of the best games of 2013. Perhaps even the best game I played that year, I could say. So these are just so many good changes here. Fixes mostly, but fixes are great, right? Now, all of these changes as well, let us see them. The balance changes. This wasn't a dev diary, but let's look at it again. Well, not again, let's just look at it. So, aggressive expansion, how has it changed? Previously, vassalizing a nation would give a fixed amount of aggressive expansion regardless of that nation's size, while taking its provinces would give aggressive expansion for each province captured. This has been changed to be more consistent. Vassalization now gives aggressive expansion based on the number of provinces held by the country that is vassalized, though the aggressive expansion gained from vassalizing is still lower than that you would get from conquering. I think that's a good change, the fact that it's more dynamic now. It's not like, oh, you vassalize, oh, you get this amount of aggressive expansion. It's more like, oh, you vassalize a very, very minor nation, you get this aggressive expansion. Oh, you vassalize a nation that has like 2 provinces and has like more base stacks. Oh wait, now you have to pay more for the aggressive expansion. Now you get more aggressive expansion because it's a bigger nation with higher base stacks that you're vassalizing. So, number of ideas and policies have also gained a new modifier called aggressive expansion impact, which lowers the amount of aggressive expansion you take from signing peace deals. Additionally, breaking a truce now always gives a large amount of aggressive expansion even towards your allies. So naturally, you didn't want to break truce you didn't really want to break truces before, but now you really don't want to break truces. So, this new aggressive expansion impact also looks like a very interesting new mechanic. Because now you can invest into ideas and policies that lower the AE you take from signing peace deals. I might actually do it myself to try and lower that, because it would obviously help with expanding quicker and people not being mad at you. That would be great, wouldn't it? For you to expand and people not be mad at you. At least not as mad as before and not as likely to make huge coalitions that would return you to your original state. Now, this is also interesting about units. So, unit types have received a comprehensive rebalance, with almost every single land unit in the game having their stats changed. Overall number of pips on units were cut in half to reduce the role played by technology in land battles. Right, that's already very huge what's happened here. Basically, cut in half. So now, you can see that technology will not really do as much anymore. And major rebalancing was also done of the different technology groups, who are now almost entirely equal in overall strength, but peak at different times. So, as you can see, now the edge won't be as big as it was before in during the when specific cultures, well, technology groups had insane units compared to everybody else, like insane cavalry or something like that, or endgame Western units. And for example, the Ottomans receive very strong early game units, but aren't as good in the late game, while Western units start out poor but excel in the late game. So as you can see, with Ottomans you have to do really well in the beginning, because if you don't do well in the beginning, it looks like you might have a bad time at the end. Well, not as much anymore though. And before, oh, this is another big thing. Progression through units is now much less uneven for many of the slower tech groups, and many units that were under or overpowered for their tech level have been adjusted. The African and Native American tech groups also received a number of new cavalry units. And the most important change, as part of these changes, nations that westernize will no longer get Western units, retaining their old technology groups units instead. That's a big change. So now when you westernize, you shall not get their units. So keep that in mind. You will keep your old units. So now, Conquest and Rebels. Rebels have been made into much more of a threat in 1.6. Oh god, just reading that makes me want to cry. Well, not obviously I'm not saying that I don't like the change, but Rebels will be so much more annoying now. Well, I want to see how it happens, because they actually weren't so annoying before, unless I got high overextension and such. But let's see. Spawning in greater numbers and with better army composition. Problem with that for me is that Rebels actually seemed too strong in battle. But anyway, newly conquered territories will now also be a source of turmoil, as nationalism will remain for 30 years, even if you core the province, since this makes traditional conquest harder and diplomatic annexation even more attractive than it already was. We are also introducing a cost to diplomatic annexation. Ooh, so yes. Now that will be something. The cost of diplomatic annexation. Let's see. When you start to diplomatically annex a country, doing so will have a ticking cost of up to 12 diplomatic points per month. When your point expenditure reaches the country's total base tax, multiplied by 15. Wait, I gotta drink something because I'm super thirsty and my throat hurts from from talking so much. So, a base tax 10 country would take 150 diplomatic points to annex. And the country will be annexed when you reach that. This means that diplomatic annexation is no longer a free alternative to outright conquest, but uses different kind of points and allows you to avoid all the nationalist problems you get from just taking the provinces. So now, while it does cost points per month, it also seems like it is easier to basically take to annex vassals. It would take, like, say if it's a base tax 15, it would take you like 10 months essentially, which would be very quick compared to how it was before. It would take you quite a few years to annex a vassal, depending on your diplomatic how is it called? It was a specific mechanic for it. Was it influence? I don't know how it's called, but oh, I think it's called diplomatic reputation. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's how it is actually called. Anyway, now let us look at technology. We notice that early colonizers such as Castile and Portugal often get a massive advantage just from being early, quickly locking up large parts of the New World before nations like England, Netherlands or France can reach it. To slow down early colonization and give the later colonizers a chance to compete, we've tied the base settler growth to diplomatic technology. Wonderful change, I think. This makes it amazingly. It makes it much better for the nations that are slower in colonizing. So let us see. Level 3, this base growth is only plus 25 compared to plus 50 previously, but increases at tech levels 10, 15, 22, 26, and 32 up to a total of plus 150. So late game it's gonna be very, very easy to expand. Wow, that would be a lot. I mean, that would be pretty fast. Another addition to technology is administrative efficiency. That was already discussed. New countrywide bonus that is unlocked. Oh, well. We've already talked about it. Finally, neighbor bonus multiplier to technology has been reduced from 5% to 2%, meaning that it is less of an ideal strategy to hold off increasing your technology so that you can stack up neighbor bonuses and more cheaply advance. Oh, that was something I liked to do, basically. I would just wait it out and until neighbors had it, and then I would use the awesome 5% bonus multiplier to technology. But I think it's good that it's changed. We'll see though. Let's look at religion. So, religious unity now is connected to how tolerant you are towards the religions in your provinces. So let us see. Effects of tolerance on religious unity per province are as follows. Religion you have negative tolerance towards, 0% unity value. Religion you have 0 tolerance towards, 25% unity value. Religion you have 1 tolerance towards, 50%. 2, 75%, and 3 plus, 100%. I think this is good because now, as it says, provinces of your national religion always contribute 100%, regardless of your tolerance to your own faith. So I think this is really good because it's not like always like, oh, 0%, oh, 100%, because certain religions are more tolerant towards others. So it makes sense that they would actually give you a little bit of unity. Now, buildings. As mentioned in Dev Diary 8, building system has received a comprehensive overhaul, with many buildings having their bonuses reworked. The aim is to make government buildings more attractive and clearly define roles for each line of buildings. Government, tax income and revolt risk. Trade, trade power and income. Production, production income and cost reduction. Military, manpower and land force limit. Very cool, I think. So naval, shipbuilding and naval force limit. Forts, defense and supply limit. Ooh, very, very interesting changes regarding the buildings. I think it would be very, very nice indeed to try out all those changes. Now, AI improvements. AI has received its usual slew of improvements, particularly in the areas of naval warfare, trade and budgeting. Oh, allying with the AI will be a better experience. So, importance AI places on trust has been increased considerably, with AI nations much less likely to turn on a highly trusted ally. That is amazing! I hated how they would always turn against me, even though they had no reason. The way you make the AI trust you has also been reworked. It's no longer enough to be allied for a long time. You have to actually fight in their wars and give them things they want in your wars if you want the AI to trust you. Definitely a good change, I think. If you actively work to help your allies, they will be more likely to stick by you when the going gets tough. Additionally, a new opinion modifier called Once Your Provinces has been added, which scales according to the amount of land you own that the AI would like to own, and with the importance they place on that land. Additionally, the AI is now much less likely to turn hostile against the nation they have a high opinion of, and will never go hostile against the nation they have more than 100% opinion of. Yes! Hurrah! Yay, wonderful. This will show you exactly why an AI nation is hostile towards you and will cause them to behave more logically. An AI nation that likes you a great deal won't break the alliance just because they want a province or two from you, but if they're looking to take everything you own, nothing will push that opinion into positive numbers. Very, very nice. Overseas provinces. Oh, very nice change here, I think, as well. If you've ever felt that it's a bit silly that Tangiers is considered a distant overseas province to Castile, we have some good news. Yes, I felt that it was silly at some point as well. The way we calculate overseas provinces has been changed so that provinces within a certain distance from your capital, roughly the distance between Italy and Libya, no longer count as being overseas provinces, allowing you to get the full tax, manpower, and force limit benefits from those provinces. Great! Great, great. This helps Castile a lot, as you can see, and provinces in Africa become more valuable because now not all of them will be essentially overseas provinces, which makes them more worthwhile. Goods produced. We have also overhauled the way that goods produced scaled in relation to a province's base tax. Before 1.6, each province produced a base of 1 plus base tax multiplied by 0.01 goods. So a 10 base tax province would produce 1.10 goods, only slightly more than a base tax 1 province's 1.01. This has been changed to a simple base tax multiplied by 0.2, meaning that the 10 base tax province will produce 10 times the goods of a base tax 1 province, a much more meaningful difference between a rich and a poor province. Also a good change, I think, will make high tax provinces even more important. And as a final bonus, many nations have received tweaks and improvements to their dynamical historical events. We felt that too many DHEs had trigger conditions that are near impossible to achieve, are set to fire only in tiny windows of time with a high mean time to happen too, or simply offer choices where one option is clearly superior to the others, removing any real sense of fun in playing out alternate histories. Austria, Ming, the Netherlands, and Poland have had their DHEs significantly improved, so they will be more frequent and interesting. Of course, we've even added some new events too. So as you can see, all these balancing changes, new features, new free features, lots of new bug fixes, in my opinion at least, they make the Wealth of Nations DLC worth it. At least based on what I have read here. I have not actually played the game yet with the new DLC, bear that in mind when I say this, but based on what I have seen, their videos of Wealth of Nations, what I've read here, and what I have previously known about the game DLC, I think that it's going to be really, really, really wonderful. And I do thank them for taking their time to make this DLC, and it looks amazing. Again, I have not tested it yet, but based on what I've read here, I'm really excited to try it out and play it when I have the time. Unfortunately, will not have too much time to play it right now, but still, thanks for making this DLC. If you're watching, part of the team that made it. Anyway, thank you guys and girls for watching, and if you want to see more, comment, rate, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, share the video. See you next time.